Chosen one, listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you, because right now, as you're lying awake night after night, you've noticed it. Your dreams aren't just dreams anymore. They're louder, sharper, bursting with scenes that feel like messages, warnings, jolts of memory, visions so real you wake soaked in sweat. Heart pounding, breath caught in your chest like you ran a mile. Don't ignore it. Let me show you the 5 reasons your dreams have turned so vivid lately, because it's not just random. It's not just your mind running wild in the dark. Suddenly, heaven's pushing through. Suddenly, the spiritual volume has been turned up because there's a shift happening in your life that can't stay silent. Let me tell you the first reason: the spiritual realm is crowding closer than before. You felt that strange pressure in your room at 3:17 a.m. The way shadows feel different, thicker, charged. You know it's not just darkness, it's a presence. Sometimes it chills, sometimes it comforts. You can sense something watching, waiting. Your dreams are the thin place now, a crack in the walls where the unseen presses against your reality. Angels and assignments hover over your bed. Warnings drift through your sleep. Loved ones show up delivering messages they never gave you when alive. Sometimes it's terrifying, sometimes it feels like rescue. You try to shake it off in the morning, but the images linger. You taste the fear, the hope, the desperation, the ache of revelation that won't let go. This isn't random firing of your neurons, this is heaven's surveillance. God is letting you know, I am involved right now, I am watching, I am breaking in. What you see in dreams is what's lurking, what's marching, what's standing by your side. That veil isn't as thick as before, and you can feel it every single night. Here's the second reason your dreams are surging into vividness. Your heart is wrestling with something you buried. Right now, as you drift off, your body relaxes, but your soul refuses to rest. There is unfinished business in the core of who you are. Pain you locked away because it was too much to bear. Regret, failure, what ifs. The argument you never had the chance to finish, the apology you never made, the embrace you never gave. They all come calling. Your subconscious rips the boards off those doors while you sleep. Suddenly those faces show up, conversations restart and rewind, and you're back on that street, in that house, at that job, facing the mess you tried to erase. Old betrayals, heartbreaks, opportunities squandered. They come alive in Technicolor. You try to run, try to rewrite how it ended, but your dreams don't lie. They open the wound and pour salt so you can't ignore it any longer. It's painful. It's relentless, but here's the mercy. God lets you see what you must heal to become who you're called to be. He's showing you where the weakness is, still gaping. He's showing you the unfinished places. You don't escape these dreams because you weren't meant to. Every night this surgery continues, and in the daylight you're forced to confront the cost of what you've survived. That's why you wake up tired, like you lived a whole other life in your sleep. Third, let me break this down for you. Your calling is activating beneath the surface, and your spirit can't stay quiet. Something in you has been triggered, pushed into motion by events seen and unseen. Maybe you had a conversation that shook you. Maybe a door closed suddenly, a friendship ended unexpectedly. A new opportunity cracked open when you weren't ready. It doesn't matter how small it looked in the moment. Your destiny clock got reset. Dreams are the early warning system of your purpose. You see yourself in roles you never considered, facing battles you haven't fought yet, speaking to crowds, standing in rooms that intimidate and electrify. You're fighting wars you didn't sign up for, loving people you haven't met, forgiving enemies you vowed to forget. You see the platform, the fall, the rescue, the miracle. Your mind is mapping out paths for your feet to follow in the future. The imagery is wild, but it's instruction, prophecy, rehearsal. Every night, as you stagger through those epic scenes, you're being trained, equipped, made ready for what's about to break loose in your waking world. Don't dismiss it. Don't call it fantasy. That's your preparation for a life you don't yet recognize. Now listen to this carefully. The fourth reason for this vivid storm. Spiritual warfare is intensifying and you're feeling every blow. Right now, darkness isn't playing fair. You're advancing. You're on the cusp of something hell wants to cancel before it ever arrives, so dreams turn violent, strange, exhausting. Nightmares return from childhood, running, falling, being chased but never caught, suffocating under invisible hands. Sometimes it's more subtle. You lose things just as you find them. Houses catch fire, loved ones vanish, your voice disappears right when you try to cry for help. Let me take you into this unseen fight. Those dreams aren't punishment. They are evidence you matter. You have enemies in the spirit because you have an assignment. Right now, arrows are flying toward you in the night. Right now, someone lit candles hoping to curse your destiny, hoping you'd never wake up whole. But every single dream you survive is a battle won, even if you wake up shaken. The attacks get weirdest right before the break expires. The pressure is proof. The devil doesn't waste energy on the irrelevant. You are a target because you are chosen. You are wide-eyed in the night because you are dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. Let me show you the last reason. Fifth, dreams have turned vivid because God is calling you to listen and obey in a fresh way. Instructions are coming. Directions are being whispered. Sometimes it comes as pictures, sometimes as voices calling your name, sometimes as repeated warnings or promises. You see street names, faces, businesses, details you've never noticed. But days later, they show up in your waking world. The number on the mailbox, the color of a stranger's coat, the very phrase someone utters as you pass them. It's not happenstance. God is training you to recognize His voice in all its forms. Because when the time comes, you will need to move quickly, to pivot, to trust what you saw in the night, even when it makes no sense in the daylight. Each vivid dream, each burst of clarity that jolts you awake is another lesson, another chance to say, "Yes, Lord," even if I'm trembling, even if nobody else believes what I saw. Let me take you deeper for a moment, right into that 3 a.m. hour. Picture it. Your body aches with fatigue, sleep won't hold you, every muscle is tense, and your thoughts spin on repeat. You sit up in bed, pulse racing for no reason you can name. The room is silent, but it feels crowded. You try to pray, but words stall in your throat. You try scrolling through your phone to drown out the images, searching for something to break the cycle. Memes, messages, meaningless news. Nothing works. You take a sip of water, try to steady your breath, but the visions keep returning, shouting, running, doors closing, sirens wailing. Someone calling your name from a long hallway that never ends. It's the faces that hurt the most. Old friends, lost relatives, mentors who vanished without warning, appearing, speaking, then fading just out of reach. You wonder if you're losing your mind. You close your eyes again, grip the sheets, whisper the only prayer you have, "God help me." But the dream returns. Claws sharper, colors brighter, pain more real. You try to rebuke it, cast it out, command peace. Some nights you swallow pills hoping for numbness, but they only blur the edge, never erase what haunts you. As the sky lightens, you feel no relief. You drag yourself to the bathroom, look in the mirror, eyes red and wild, heart weary. The world thinks you got a good night's rest, but you know. Your battle happened in the shadows and your scars are invisible. There is no choice but to rise and stagger on, carrying visions that no one else will ever understand. The enemy wanted to crush you at night, to convince you you're losing it, that these dreams are curses. But God is showing you you're more awake in the night season than the world is in the day. So right now, in this moment, I decree over you. What haunted you overnight becomes your testimony by sunrise. What tormented you in your dreams becomes the seed of your breakthrough in daylight. They wanted you blinded by nightmares, but you're waking up a visionary. They feared you'd break down, but you're breaking through. Every dream, every night terror, every sleepless hour now is being turned to revelation. The darkness trembled, but heaven spoke louder. God used the night to instruct you. Angels kept watch as the war raged. You are not losing your mind. You are gaining insight, gaining power, gaining clarity. Suddenly, overnight, your sleep became strategy, your dreams became destiny. Now your enemies are baffled by your resilience. Now your steps are guided by wisdom only the night could give. All 5 reasons written, all 5 awakenings burning suddenly overnight now. Chosen one, let me bring you deeper into the ache of this reversal, because if you're honest, there's a moment in the night when you thought you lost something you could never get back. You know that hour. The regret sits heavier than any blanket. Shame and confusion gnaw at you louder than the ticking clock. And you wonder if this is punishment. If the dreams are evidence you failed too many tests and now the best parts of your future will be locked away. The dreams feel like sentences, not promises. You catastrophize, have I ruined it all? Is this torment my new normal? That looping accusation, the condemnation, the taunt. You missed the window, you sabotaged the blessing. You're stuck living in memories while everyone else wakes up to miracles. There is nothing poetic about this ache, only the raw scrape of what if, swirling in your chest. The night turns into a trial where you are both the defendant and the judge, and the sentence always says, "You are unworthy." You play every error over. The phone call unmade, the apology withheld, the gift squandered, the road not taken. You replay conversations with the people who left, people whose faces only visit in your dreams now, wondering if their absence is your curse. You ache for evidence that God is still involved, still cares, still marks you as favored even when you feel discarded. Right now you stare at the ceiling, the pillow soaked with old tears, waiting for some sign that this isn't just suffering, waiting for the verdict to shift. Let me show you what's happening. All along, what looked like condemnation was really the setup for vindication. The very images that tormented you, the floods of old pain and harsh judgment, these are being repurposed as proof for every bystander and every accuser. Because what haunts you in the dark becomes your evidence in the light. That lost opportunity? God brings you a new chance out of the blue that looks strangely similar, but this time you walk through the door redeemed. The relationships that fractured and rewound in tormenting detail. Suddenly, without effort on your part, some of them come looking for you. They reach out. They apologize. You find yourself holding compassion you never knew you had. The pain that made you think you'd never trust again isn't a prison anymore. It is a platform. You speak honestly, you forgive, you move lighter. Right now, others notice something shifted. They whisper that you glow different, walk freer. Move like someone who saw death but is now marked for life. Vindication isn't just God rescuing you, it's God showcasing you, saying, "Look at the scars, look at the proof. You didn't earn it by being perfect. No, you got here by surviving the night, by refusing to let bitterness have the final word." When you tell the truth of your struggle, people lean in. Not because you sound victorious, but because you're so brutally real. Let me explain how reversal sets off a ripple so wide, the very people who used to dismiss you now ask for your opinion. The ones who rolled their eyes, who told you to get over it, suddenly want to know, how did you survive? You used to feel invisible in rooms. Now eyes track your every move. You start hearing, "I don't know why, but I feel safe around you, I trust you." The places where you were the last to be chosen, suddenly you're the one calling the meeting, leading the discussion. You aren't just useful, you are essential. The people who gossiped, who tried to define you by failures and rumors, they can't get their stories straight now because you proved them wrong by continuing to rise. God arranges a public table and your presence becomes a disruption. They can't explain your resilience. They can't dismiss your transformation. This is not about vengeance. This is an announcement from heaven. Everything that once disqualified you has become the mark of your authority. The shame the enemy tried to bury you with. Now it's the mud God shaped into a seal, a mark, a testimony that gives you entrance into places no resume, no degree, no status could have bought. People ask them what happened, and sometimes you don't even have words except, "God wouldn't let me die in the night." Now listen, this vindication isn't just for comfort, it carries a commission. You didn't get free just so you could coast. That long night, those vivid dreams, that battle you barely crawled through, it qualifies you to go back for others. You're not sent back to relive your trauma, but to rescue the ones still lost there. You know how to spot the signs, the glassed-over eyes of someone pretending to function but split in two on the inside. You notice the tone of people's voices when they say, "I'm fine." But you remember how you used to lie just like that. You become the one who sees, who notices forgotten people on the edges, in the corners, under the radar. You don't have to preach. You don't have to fix anyone with clever words. Your very presence is a signal that survival is possible. God trusts you to carry secrets now. You're allowed into the private, the hidden, the parts people don't show their families or their social feeds. And what's wild? When you enter those places, the atmosphere always shifts. Darkness stirs, but light rises. People break, but hope leaks in through the cracks. You pray quietly. Sometimes you just listen. But people leave your presence wishing they could reach for what you carry. You are a sign that resurrection is for regular people, not just the flawless. You become dangerous to despair because you refuse to let the pain become your personality. Let me break this down even more. In the commission comes unexpected authority. You open your mouth and words you never rehearsed pour out. People find healing in conversations with you. Doors open that should have stayed closed. Jobs call you back. Platforms extend invitations. Old enemies become silent. Not because you threatened them, but because they realize something greater walks beside you. You notice favor that makes no sense. Discounts at checkout. Strangers offering you help before you even ask. Rooms of influence shifting to accommodate your arrival. You start carrying answers to questions you hadn't even prepared for. People you barely know trust you with things they've never told a soul. This is the transfer. What the enemy sowed in fear, God multiplies in trust. You no longer have to beg for a seat at the table. You start building your own. God gives you strategies at night that unlock solutions by day. A creative idea, a business concept, a conversation you avoided suddenly turns into breakthrough. The very dreams that disrupted your sleep start releasing wisdom for the people who thought dreaming was a waste of time. You are sent, commissioned, equipped, no paperwork required, just scars visible enough to convince the wounded that healing is possible. Let me show you what happens next. Vindication rolls into visibility, and visibility is an invitation to more. More weight, more voice, more reach. You may feel exposed, nervous, overwhelmed, wondering, why now? Why me? The shift is visceral. You feel people tracking your every move. You notice jealousy in some places, awe in others. Sometimes the old fear rises up again, asking, what if I fall in front of everyone? What if I fail and there's no shadow left to hide in? But every time that panic crawls up your spine, here's what breaks it. The memory of the night you survived. You remember the chaos, the confusion, the dreams that nearly killed you. And you know that God didn't bring you this far just to abandon you in public. Suddenly you realize you are more unbreakable than you ever imagined. The applause doesn't sway you. The criticism doesn't wound you, not like before, because everything feels like grace now. You are held, not because you're perfect, but because you're postured right. willing, humble, awake, dangerous to darkness, alive to possibility. So now, chosen one, I decree this over you. Every night of anxiety has become your passport to authority. Every tormenting vision is now your evidence of endurance. They wanted you to live invisible, but you have become a beacon. They tried to bury your story, but heaven called your scars a testimony. They mocked your midnight wrestling, but God gave you morning triumph. They thought your fear would paralyze you, but it became the reason you dared to step out in faith. They hoped your dreams would drown you, but those very waves carried you into destiny. Right now, doors swing wide that should have been welded shut. Right now, authority rests on you that no resume could command. Right now, the people who pitied you are awestruck by your resilience. Right now, your presence makes darkness nervous and the broken breathe easier. Right now, you carry what others crave but can't manufacture. Survival with softness, victory without venom, calloused hands that still reach for the next hurting soul. They plan to see you silenced, but the sound of your story breaks chains for others. They wanted you stuck in regret, but you move forward with vision sharpened by every tear you shed in the night. They wanted confinement. Heaven gave you commission. They wanted erasure. Heaven gave you emergence. Suddenly, overnight, now, chosen one, lean in as I take you further into the part of the story nobody sees, where reversal becomes so much more than a simple turnaround, where every hardship begins announcing your new authority right in the same places that once crushed your confidence. You know that feeling, walking streets or scrolling messages that used to make you shrink, remembering faces that used to bring torment. But now they flash before your mind's eye and you feel grounded instead of afraid. Let me show you how God takes what the enemy invented to destroy you and makes it the soil where your vindication grows. This is no neat, rehearsed redemption arc. This is clumsy, raw, public miracle. Suddenly, the neighbors who once judged your absence at every gathering wonder where you found your peace. Suddenly, relatives who whispered behind your back about your breakdowns, your panic, your bad luck. They start asking for your prayers, asking how you keep getting up, asking what changed. You never have to convince them with words. It's the quiet steadiness, the refusal to retaliate, the small smiles you share when nobody else remembers their kindness mattered. There are moments, even now, where you catch yourself expecting the old fears to rise back up. You're bracing for that same biting comment, the overdraft email, the silence when you reach out for help, but instead the flow changes. You end up getting provision from unexpected places, a check in the mail, a debt forgiven, a meal offered, a hand extended not in pity but honor. You realize you're not surviving the night anymore. You're being carried by the very winds that used to howl at your door. Your spirit starts anticipating good. You find yourself opening the curtains in the morning without dread. What used to paralyze you, the unknown of the day, becomes a launching pad. You feel beneath all the ache and memory the slow thrum of joy returning. Vindication is not flashy or loud for you. It's the slow, sturdy rebuilding of your confidence, one risk at a time, one act of courage at a time. It is the sense that even if today starts rough, something beyond your control is determined to make sure your story ends in glory. Let me tell you what happens when God shifts the spotlight. You thought you'd always be anonymous, always backstage, always the one making things possible for other people's applause. But now, suddenly, your name comes up in rooms you've never entered. Invitations arrive, real invitations, not bait, not empty words. At first, you hesitate. Who? Me? Don't they know my history, my failures? But that's exactly why you're called now, because your scars make you relatable. Your honesty makes you safe. People trust you with sensitive stories, with complex truths, because you refuse to pretend to be someone you're not. Vindication looks like sitting where you once begged to belong. It's the freedom to say no or yes because both are possible. And it goes deeper. You discover people watching your steps, copying your choices. You spot younger ones who are just entering the storms you survived, and you know deep down that your survival was never just about you. It was always preparing you to lead, to witness, to anchor, to break shame off others. Now listen to this carefully. Vindication always ushers in a new kind of warfare. Doors open and opposition mutates. Things that used to tempt you don't tempt you anymore, but a whole new level of pressure tries to sneak in. Sometimes it's subtle, a lingering sense that you're out of your league, a whisper that you don't deserve your new place. Sometimes it's a public attack. You launch a project and someone criticizes it for no reason. You speak up and people assign motives you never had. There are moments you want to slip back into invisibility, to stop risking so much exposure. You feel the weight of influence, and the enemy tries to attach shame to your victories. But here's what God keeps whispering night after night. I didn't bring you through all that for you to disappear now. You remember that you've already died 1,000 little deaths. Embarrassment can't kill you. You survived the worst by God's hand. This, what you walk in now, is training for battle, not punishment for ambition. Every time critique stings you, every time friendliness fades into envy, every time your motives are questioned, it just proves your assignment is growing. Destiny always draws resistance, but now you have the proof that you'll be kept, not by your own strength, but by the one who never slept while you wrestled through the night. There's a reversal happening in your relationships. People who used to see only what they wanted finally start seeing what God always saw in you. The ones who'd boxed you into a category, you're the irresponsible one, the problem, the one who can't be trusted, are catching glimpses of you they never imagined. They remember the old stories, but now they witness the wisdom that wasn't there before. Something about how you listen, how you speak, how you carry no need for revenge confuses them. Some will never apologize. They'll just treat you with a new quiet reverence, unsure how to explain it. Others, bolder, come confessing, I misjudged you. I'm sorry. You don't need their approval, but the healing that comes is real. And for every person who dismisses your new start, God brings another who honors it. Patterns shift slowly. Family systems rearrange. Favors flow where drama once dominated. You don't have to beg for belonging now, it's extended to you even where you least expect it. Commission happens not with a grand trumpet, but with a small nudge. A steady sense that you are supposed to take what you learned in the night and offer it in the day. You understand people who stutter under the weight of hidden sorrow. You catch the tremble in the voice of that coworker laughing too loud. In a crowd, you go straight to the lonely because you once were them. It terrifies you sometimes how visible you are, how much is expected, yet God keeps giving you just enough energy, just enough wisdom, and the exact words to say, even when you're trembling inside. You find yourself drawn to problems others avoid: addiction, betrayal, hidden abuse, mourning. You listen with no script, no pressure to fix. Healing comes quietly. People start naming you a safe place. Burdens get lighter in your presence. You're not stuck campaigning for influence anymore. You're not striving for notice or fighting for promotion. You are learning to be a shelter. You have become a place of rest. Work finds you, opportunities find you, even while you're simply being faithful with what's right in your lane. Commission doesn't look like a ceremony for you. It's the daily discipline of showing up, offering what you have, trusting God to multiply the little. Sometimes you're the one rescuing, but more often you become a catalyst. You spark bravery in others just by telling your truth. You recognize how God is making you a channel for mercy, not a billboard for perfection. Let me take you into how this commission will mobilize you. You will pray prayers that shift atmospheres. You'll show up in rooms full of chaos and somehow bring peace. You'll write the email that unlocks someone else's promotion. You'll make a phone call that pulls someone back from the brink. You didn't sign up for this, but all the vividness, all the dreams, all that night training built you for this kind of impact. You'll start to crave God's direction, not for clout or proof, but because when He speaks, things change around you. Friends receive breakthrough, families get restored, cycles that felt unbreakable snap under the sound of your intercession. And when things get hard, and they will, you won't fold. You've endured too much darkness to fear a temporary storm. All of this presses you into humility. You realize it's not just about you, it never was. God let your suffering preach to rooms you'll never enter. Your story becomes a lighthouse for people who are convinced it will never get better. Sometimes they tell you, sometimes you never know. They just see you keep showing up and figure maybe they can keep showing up too. Seeds get planted in silence. People follow your faith from a distance. It's enough to show up honestly, scars and all. The ministry isn't loud, but it's eternal. So, chosen one, I declare over you what hell never wanted you to hear. Everything in your story that once looked like an ending is now an entrance. Every place you mourned as a tomb is being rolled open into a stepping stone. They waited to watch you quit, but you persisted. They expected your downfall, but heaven orchestrated your deliverance. They mocked your dreams, but divine wisdom pours through you now. They left you for lost, but God sent you back as a guide. They hoped the night would erase you, but you were only being reborn. What tried to break you is now your banner. What made you feel unworthy is now your badge of trust. They whispered, "It's over," but you replied, "It's just beginning." Every reversal becomes your restoration. Every accusation becomes your access. Every setback becomes your strategy. All chains broken, all nights redeemed, suddenly, overnight, now. Chosen one, I need you to feel the heat and weight of what's shifting even now, because reversal isn't some slight adjustment, and vindication isn't a small sigh of relief. It is earthquake. It is thunder. It is the world as you know it unwinding and reforming under God's own hammer. That life where you expected the struggle, where you waited for another cold shoulder, another no, another string of disappointments. Right now, that cycle is breaking over your head. Suddenly the wind shifts and you don't even recognize the air. You realize you've stopped bracing for disaster. You look for the knife to drop and nothing. No betrayal, no doors slamming in your face. Instead, doors you never even knocked on swing open before you touch the handle. And the tears you were used to swallowing back become a rain that waters the field already planted with your hope. The very places where you were humiliated, dismissed, called a fool or too much or not enough, those places start to crackle with heaven's fire and you feel it right now. The reversal turning every old verdict on its head. Let me tell you what reversal looks like in the flesh. It's waking up one day and realizing your presence unsettles the ones who most tried to bury your future. You walk into spaces where rumors once shaped the air, and instead of shrinking to fit their narrative, you bring the narrative God wrote for you. You don't carry the awkward tension. You carry an aroma of freedom, the invincible knowing that you are where you belong. And no lie can rewrite your arrival. Sometimes people won't look you in the eye, they'll glance quick, faces tight with the memory of the ways they tried to twist your story, but here you are. Standing, smiling, audible. You don't say a thing, but your mere survival indicts their false verdict. You have a place and a peace money cannot buy. Time after time, blessing arrives right in sight of the people who predicted your obscurity. They have no choice but to witness it. You don't seek revenge, but every favor, every opportunity, every backward glance filled with regret on their faces testifies grace put you here. Not luck, not manipulation, not your own malice. You find healing in how little you need their approval now. The itch is gone. The need for validation dissolves so quietly it surprises you. Freedom is honest now. You don't chase it, you carry it. Where shame used to scream at you, a settled strength whispers, "You made it." When the phone rings and you see those old names, managers, ex-friends, people who distanced themselves as you staggered through your hardest season, you pick up with peace. You don't burn with the urge to prove a thing. Instead, you listen, and sometimes they admit plain and soft that they were wrong about you. Other times, you just know by how gentle they become, how careful they are with your heart now. Their tone has changed, and more often than not, so has yours. Vindication made you merciful. You have let God be your defender, and now you walk among those who counted you out, not with resentment, but with a quiet authority that teaches by just standing, just breathing, just moving forward. Right here, right now, you begin to taste the sweetness of reversal that runs deeper than public reputation. It drips through the cracks into your private life, your health, your mind, your body, your sleep. Those vivid dreams that once racked your nights now begin delivering peace, instructions, comfort. You stop dreading bedtime. Rest returns, sometimes slowly, sometimes in relief so sudden it makes you weep without warning. The torment is quieted. The heavy, tight chest loosens. You wake up with ideas, songs, prayers. The nightmares become rare, and when they surface, they lose their sting. You sense angels standing post over your bed, guarding your soul like a city wall. Your body remembers what peace feels like. Old illnesses lift. Chronic pain abates. The emptiness that used to echo at 3 a.m. is filled with a warmth you know is not your own, a tangible covering. Sometimes you wake up from dreams not afraid, but strengthened. Sometimes it's a word, other times it's just a deep sense that, against all odds, all is truly well. Let me press into this commission that's unfolding. Vindication always hands you a responsibility. The gift of authority isn't permission to gloat, it's a call to shepherd. Your commission isn't a single moment, it's daily, raw, relentless. It meets you in the grocery store, line, in texts from people confessing secrets, in requests that arrive at midnight on your lunch break, in moments when you are least prepared. The wisdom you gained in torment becomes a light for wayward feet. You find yourself drawn to brokenness, not as a savior, but as one who refuses to let people drown alone. Where others walk away, you stay. Where others recoil at the mess and smell of pain, you get low and help carry it. Sometimes you're the first to notice a silent cry. Sometimes you're just quietly present while others get their turn to fall apart. You hold the line. You speak peace. You lend your faith when theirs cannot stand. You pray privately for people who will never know your fingerprints are on their breakthrough. You're commissioned now to steward the territory pain carved out in your heart. Territory where empathy lives, where patience has grown roots. You become the one who can sit with uncertainty without panicking, who can hear shattered stories without flinching, who can speak hope where cliches used to fail. Your words are trusted because you have bled for them. No one can fake what's real in you because the night you survived left too many fingerprints on your soul. Others begin to trust your process. They stop asking for quick, tidy answers and instead invite you deeper into their chaos because they sense you're not afraid of darkness anymore. God uses you as a bridge. Sometimes the only connection people have to faith, to safety, to the possibility that joy might belong to them too. And as you walk in this commission, favor keeps multiplying in directions you didn't even think to pray for. Your finances start to align. You find money flowing from places you never expected. Projects succeed when they should have failed. Losses turn around and become resources. People with influence open doors for you, not because you begged, but because they see the mark of perseverance on your life. Friendships strengthen, new alliances form, people loyal, interested not in your clout but in your character. Family members witness peace in you and reach out for more. Your health recovers, the old diagnosis is reversed, the doctor shakes their head and calls it a fluke, but you know what was spoken over you in the night. Opportunities arrive one after another, sometimes overwhelming in their goodness, and favor follows you right into the places where old curses were spoken. Let me make this plain. You become a disruptor to darkness now. You are commissioned to carry authority everywhere you go, not just to endure, but to rewrite the narrative. You realize you can pray and systems change. You can declare and atmospheres shift. Where anxiety used to flood you, now you anchor others. Where doubt used to paralyze you, now you spark faith in voices and hearts all around you. You don't need applause. You don't need a platform. You bring what you carry into rooms, and people respond not to your name, but to the God who made you unbreakable. So here is the decree, stamped by the same God who would not let you die in the dark. They watched you beg for crumbs, but you sit now at tables you did not build, welcomed, honored, whole. They pronounced your ending, but heaven wrote beginning across everything that had died. They said you would never trust again, but now you guide wounded hearts to restoration. They mocked your dreams for being too much, too vivid, too wild. But it is those very dreams that form the language of your new authority. They scattered curses across your path, but you rise above it, unbothered, untethered, unprecedented. They wanted to see your faith crack, but now your prayers shake prisons. Darkness conspired for your silence, but your voice multiplies hope. They planned an epitaph, but God delivered a graduation. Their maps could not predict the route God took you on. Their words fell to the ground, but God's decree stands over your life, ringing out over every room you enter. Right now, the story is rewritten. Right now, the record is cleared. Right now, you are proof that night cannot last forever, that agony bears fruit, that the ones most buried are the ones most elevated. You take your place, restored, commissioned, crowned by surviving and thriving. Suddenly, overnight now, every curse is reversed and every dream redeemed. Your victory is public, your healing is contagious. All the old chains, all the old labels dropped and dead. You were chosen, you are kept, and you are sent right now as the living decree of all that vindication can do.